Since this has all been exposed, well, it's actually known to many people, but it has now been exposed to the general public. Those words hung in the air like smoke after an explosion. And what followed was one of the most jaw-dropping, career-defining weeks in Philippine tennis history. A week where celebrity drama collided with athletic excellence, where a president's secret message became a national rallying cry, and where Alex Eala found herself at the absolute center of a storm. She never asked for but handled with the grace of a true champion. Welcome back to the only channel where we don't just cover tennis. We uncover the truth behind the headlines, the drama behind the baseline, and the stories that make this beautiful sport so much more than just a game. Before we dive into one of the most explosive stories of the entire tennis season, let's celebrate something massive. We've officially smashed past our subscriber milestone and we're only getting started. You are the fuel that keeps this channel moving, and we're incredibly grateful for every single one of you. If you're new here, welcome to the family. Grab your popcorn, settle in, and get ready for a story absolutely packed with celebrity confrontations, presidential intervention, shocking upsets, and some of the most electrifying tennis you'll witness all year. Because what happened in Manila this week wasn't just a tennis tournament. It was a cultural moment that had an entire nation holding its breath. This week, the worlds of entertainment and professional sports collided in the most spectacular and messy way imaginable. At the center of it all stands Alex Eala, the pride of Philippine tennis, and an alleged confrontation with pop icon Sarah Geronimo that has the entire nation picking sides, and the internet absolutely on fire. Picture this: a VIP room somewhere in Manila. Celebrities mingling, polite conversation filling the air, glamour and wealth on display everywhere you look. The kind of event where everyone smiles, takes photos, and says all the right things, until one voice allegedly cuts through the room like a knife, shattering the pleasant facade and igniting a firestorm that shows absolutely no signs of dying down. According to multiple reports and eyewitness accounts spreading like wildfire across Filipino social media, that voice belonged to Sarah Geronimo, one of the Philippines' biggest pop stars. And what she allegedly said sparked a controversy so explosive it dominated headlines for days, pushing even the actual tennis competition into the background. The accusation cut deep and personal. Sarah Geronimo allegedly dismissed Alex Eala's entire career, claiming that the tennis star owed her success not to talent, not to years of sacrifice, not to countless hours of brutal training, but simply to the size of her parents' bank accounts. According to witnesses, Sarah reduced every drop of sweat Alex had shed on courts around the world, every tear cried in lonely hotel rooms, thousands of miles from home, every sacrifice made since childhood, to nothing more than privilege and money. A rich kid playing a rich kid's game. That was supposedly the message. You didn't earn this. It was bought for you. But the alleged attack didn't stop there. Reports claim Sarah went even further, questioning Alex's loyalty to the Philippines itself and insinuating that she had abandoned her homeland to chase personal fame and fortune in the United States and Europe. The unspoken message was devastating and clear. You're not one of us anymore. You're a sellout. You left us behind. Let's pause right there and really absorb the weight of that accusation, because anyone who knows anything about Alex Eala's journey understands just how profoundly unfair and ignorant that characterization actually is. Alex Eala has carried the weight of an entire nation's tennis dreams on her shoulders since she was barely a teenager, since an age when most kids are worried about homework and weekend plans. She left her family at the painfully young age of 12 to train at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain, enduring the absolutely brutal junior tennis circuit, while simultaneously battling crushing homesickness, language barriers, cultural adjustment, and relentless competition from players who'd been training in elite European academies their entire lives. Her achievements speak for themselves with a clarity that should silence any critic. In 2021, she captured the U.S. Open Girls doubles title. In 2022, she followed that up by winning the French Open Girls Singles Championship, making her the first Filipino player in history, male or female, to accomplish that feat. She brought home a bronze medal from the Asian Games, placing the Philippines on the global tennis map in a way that had never been done before. And in 2024, she shattered yet another barrier by breaking into the WTA Top 100, then continuing to climb all the way into the top 50, proving once and for all that she belongs among the elite players in the entire world. And yet someone, allegedly a fellow Filipino celebrity, had the audacity to call all of that nothing but privilege bought with money. Yes, money matters in tennis. It absolutely does. Money can buy quality coaching, court time, travel to international tournaments, proper equipment, sports psychology, physical therapy, nutritional support. Tennis is an expensive sport, and access to resources creates real advantages. Nobody denies that reality. But here's what money absolutely cannot buy. Money cannot purchase heart. It cannot purchase the mental toughness required to lose in the first round of a tournament, board a plane the next morning, land in a completely different country, and step back onto the court to do it all over again the very next week. It cannot purchase the courage to stare down match point, facing elimination, and still believe you can win. It cannot purchase the resilience needed to handle the crushing loneliness of life on the professional tour, where you're constantly traveling, constantly competing, constantly away from everyone you love. That strength is earned. It's forged in the fire of competition. It's the result of sacrifices that most people, including pop stars who perform in air-conditioned arenas and sleep in their own beds every night, will never fully understand or appreciate. So when Eala allegedly heard those words, when her entire life's work was reduced to a privileged transaction, something inside her reportedly snapped. And honestly, can anyone blame her? For years, we've known Alex as the sweet, humble, soft-spoken champion. Gracious in every interview, endlessly thankful to her family, her coaches, and her supporters. Patient with media obligations. Kind to young fans asking for autographs and selfies, the perfect role model in every way. But even the kindest, most patient people have a breaking point. This was apparently hers. According to sources close to the situation, Alex didn't back down. She didn't smile politely and walk away. She reportedly stood her ground and defended herself, her career, and her dedication to representing the Philippines with every ounce of passion she normally reserves for the tennis court. The confrontation allegedly became heated enough that other people in the room had to intervene to calm the situation down. The details of exactly what was said remain murky, with different versions circulating depending on who's telling the story. But what's absolutely clear is that a line was crossed, feelings were hurt, and the incident exposed a tension that exists in Philippine society between those who achieve success abroad and those who remain at home. While this celebrity drama was exploding off the court, the actual tennis tournament was delivering its own absolutely massive shockwave that would change everything about the week ahead. Tatiana Maria, the tournament's top seed and a Wimbledon semifinalist with years of tour experience, fell to world number 174, Tatiana Prozorova, in what can only be described as the biggest upset of the event so far. The scoreline, 7-6 in the tiebreak, 6-4, doesn't even begin to capture the chaos and confusion that unfolded on the court. From the opening points, Maria looked uncomfortable and out of rhythm. Maybe it was Manila's suffocating humidity, the kind that makes your clothes stick to your skin and turns every movement into extra effort. Maybe it was the pressure of being the top seed and the heavy favorite. Maybe jet lag from traveling across multiple time zones played a role in her sluggish movement. Or maybe it was simply the fearless 22-year-old Russian across the net, refusing to be intimidated by reputation or ranking, attacking relentlessly from the first ball. Prozorova didn't just play tennis, she hunted. She attacked Maria's second serve with aggressive returns. She absorbed the German's trademark slice backhands, handled the unpredictable bounces, and fired back with a ferocity and confidence that left the Manila crowd absolutely stunned. The tension was palpable as Maria searched desperately for rhythm, for any kind of momentum, for the weapons that had carried her to a Wimbledon semifinal. Remember, this is a Grand Slam semifinalist, a veteran who's seen everything the sport can possibly throw at her, a mother on tour who manages the incredible balancing act of professional competition and family life. Yet against Prozorova, she looked lost, grasping for answers that simply weren't there, The first set tiebreak was an absolute nightmare for the top seed. Lost 7-2, and with each point you could visibly see belief draining from her eyes and body language. When Prozorova closed out the second set 6-4, sealing one of the biggest upsets of the entire year, the shock rippling through the stadium was unmistakable and electric. The top seed was gone. The favorite had fallen. The draw had been blown wide open. And what does this seismic upset mean for the tournament, and more importantly for our story, for Alex Eala? Total chaos. Golden opportunity. And most significantly, it means that Alex Eala, the hometown favorite, is now officially the highest-ranked seed remaining in the entire competition. Let that sink in for a moment. At just 20 years old and ranked world number 49, Alex Eala suddenly became the woman everyone has to beat. The target on her back, already large because of her status as the home favorite, just grew 10 times larger overnight. Every remaining player in that locker room is now staring at the draw, recalculating their chances, thinking thoughts they wouldn't have dared to think 24 hours earlier. I can actually win this tournament. The whispers of possibility have turned into shouts. The underdogs smell blood in the water. The pressure has intensified exponentially. But every single one of those players, every hopeful underdog and dangerous veteran, has to go through the Filipino sensation first, and that's where the presidential message enters the story, transforming an already high-pressure situation into something approaching a national mission. According to reports that set social media absolutely on fire, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. sent a private message to Alex Eala before the tournament, a message that was meant to be personal encouragement, but somehow leaked to the public, amplifying the pressure to almost unbearable levels. The message was short, just 15 words, but those words carried the weight of 110 million Filipino hopes and dreams. Bring the crown home to where it belongs. The nation is behind you. 15 words. That's all it took to transform a tennis tournament into a national crusade. Think about what that message represents. This isn't just a coach offering encouragement or a parent expressing support. This is the president of the Philippines, the highest office in the land, personally reaching out to tell a 20-year-old athlete that the entire nation expects her to win. It's simultaneously the greatest honor imaginable and the most crushing pressure any young athlete could face. On one hand, it's beautiful. It shows that the Philippines recognizes and values Alex's achievements, that her sacrifices haven't gone unnoticed, that she's carrying the flag for millions of people who see themselves in her success. It's validation at the highest possible level. On the other hand, it's terrifying, because now Alex isn't just playing for herself, for her team, for ranking points or prize money. She's playing with the explicit expectation of a president and the implicit hopes of an entire nation. Every point carries extra weight. Every game becomes magnified. The pressure of the hometown crowd was already intense. Now it's been multiplied exponentially by presidential decree. Bring the crown home. Not do your best or we're proud of you regardless. Bring the crown home. It's a command dressed up as encouragement, and everyone involved knows exactly what it means. But before Alex could even think about crowns and finals and championship trophies, she had to survive what might be the most dangerous match of her entire tournament. She had to face a ghost from her past, a player who had already proven she possessed the blueprint to completely dismantle Alex's game. Her next opponent had a name that likely still haunted her: Himeno Sakatsume. If you're a casual tennis fan, you might be wondering who that is. Buckle up, because this is a name you need to know, and one that represents Alex's absolute nightmare matchup. Sakatsume is a 24-year-old Japanese player currently ranked world number 140. On paper, that's nearly 100 ranking spots below Alex. It should be a routine, straightforward victory for the home favorite, right? The kind of match where the higher-ranked player controls from start to finish? Except tennis doesn't work that way. Rankings don't play the match, players do. And Himeno Sakatsume had already proven, definitively and brutally, that she could destroy Alex Eala. Rewind to 2023. Osaka, Japan. A young, hungry Alex Eala walked onto the court to face Sakatsume in what was expected to be a competitive, hard-fought battle between two rising players. What actually unfolded was a massacre. Sakatsume dismantled Eala 6-love, 6-3 in a match that wasn't even as close as that second set score suggests. It was one of the most painful, humbling losses of Alex's young career. She was completely blown off the court, unable to find any rhythm, unable to solve the puzzles Sakatsume presented, unable to mount any kind of sustained resistance to the relentless consistency and suffocating court coverage. That kind of loss leaves a scar. It lingers in your memory. It wakes you up at 3 in the morning in a cold sweat, reliving the helplessness and frustration. And now, 3 years later, fate had brought them together again. But this time, everything was different. They weren't in Osaka anymore. They were in Manila, where the crowd wouldn't be politely applauding both players equally. They would be roaring for Alex Eala until their voices completely gave out. The court surface was different. The stakes were astronomically higher, and most importantly, Alex Eala was no longer the same player who had suffered that devastating defeat. Since that crushing loss in Osaka, Alex had transformed herself completely. She'd broken into the world's top 50, a barrier that stops countless talented players in their tracks. She'd defeated Grand Slam champions. She'd physically matured into a true powerhouse, capable of dictating rallies from the baseline and overwhelming opponents with pace, depth, and precision. But here's the psychological truth about tennis and about competitive sports in general. Mental scars are real. They don't vanish just because you've improved your ranking or collected victories elsewhere. When Alex stepped onto that court and saw Himeno Sakatsume across the net for the first time in 3 years, part of her brain would inevitably remember that 6-love first set, the helplessness, the complete inability to find solutions. That's why the opening games would be absolutely critical. Could Alex banish the ghosts of Osaka and prove she'd evolved beyond that painful defeat? Or would Sakatsume once again prove to be her kryptonite, the one opponent whose game somehow perfectly neutralized everything Alex did well? The atmosphere at the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center was absolutely electric, unlike anything else on the current tennis calendar. Hosting the first ever WTA tournament in the Philippines was a groundbreaking, historic moment for tennis in the entire region. For decades, Filipino fans had been forced to watch their heroes from afar, experiencing top-tier professional tennis only through television screens or by traveling thousands of miles abroad just to catch a glimpse of the world's best players. Now, finally, the tour had come to them. The WTA had recognized the passion, the loyalty, and the deep love for tennis that exists in the Philippines, and the result was an atmosphere that players were comparing to Grand Slam events. When Alex Eala walked onto that court Wednesday night, the roar that greeted her was deafening, overwhelming, a wall of sound that carried years of pent-up pride and hope. This was their champion, their pioneer, their representative on the world stage. And they were letting her know in the loudest possible terms that she wasn't alone out there. The match itself was everything the build-up promised and more. From the very first point, you could see Alex was determined to rewrite history, to prove that the player who lost 6-love 3 years ago no longer existed. She came out aggressively, taking the ball early, dictating with her forehand, refusing to let Sakatsume settle into the consistent, grinding style that had worked so effectively in Osaka. The crowd's energy lifted her, pushed her, carried her through moments of doubt. But Sakatsume didn't come to Manila to make it easy. She'd already scored one massive upset by defeating former top 60 player Nao Hibino in the previous round, and she clearly believed she could repeat her dominance over Alex. The first set was tense, tight, filled with long physical rallies that tested both players' conditioning and mental resolve. Every point felt crucial. Every game felt like it could swing momentum decisively in one direction or the other. And when Alex finally closed out that first set, the relief and joy on her face was unmistakable. She'd won the first set against her nightmare opponent. The ghost was starting to fade. The second set saw Alex's confidence grow with every game. She was moving better, striking the ball more cleanly, making fewer unforced errors. The improvement since 2023 was obvious and undeniable. She'd evolved as a player in every meaningful way. When Alex struck the final winner, when she'd completed the victory and avenged that painful loss, the emotion that poured out was overwhelming. She'd done it. She'd faced her demon and won. In front of her home crowd, with a presidential message ringing in her ears, with an entire nation watching and praying and believing. Today, the crowd was amazing, and it was a good match. I'm really happy with the performance, Alex said afterward, her voice carrying a mixture of relief, pride, and exhausted satisfaction. But there was no time to celebrate too long. The tournament wasn't over. The crown the president had asked her to bring home was still out there, waiting to be claimed. And the path to that crown would require Alex to navigate an increasingly dangerous draw filled with players who now believed, after seeing the top seed fall, that absolutely anything was possible. So, what do you think? Can Alex Eala continue this incredible run and fulfill the presidential directive by bringing the championship trophy home? Was that 15-word message the perfect motivation, or did it add crushing pressure to an already intense situation? And how shocked were you by the top seed's stunning early exit? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one, and we genuinely want to hear your predictions and analysis. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the chaos, drama, and incredible tennis happening in Manila, smash that like button, share this video with your tennis-loving friends and family, and if you haven't already, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of the action. The drama in Manila is far from over. The draw is wide open. The pressure is mounting. And Alex Eala is standing in the center of it all, racket in hand, ready to fight for her country and prove that she belongs among the very best players in the world. Don't blink. Don't look away. Not even for a second. You might miss history being made. This is where champions are forged. This is where legends are born. And we're bringing you every dramatic moment. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.